Good morning. This is my presentation of the lesson for year 8. It's about free time, opinions, second lesson. So in this lesson, we will be talking about free time, opinions, plus we will be talking about justification and a little bit of grammar. So on my first slide, I will be talking about expectations. I still don't know what are your expectations, but I will be just briefly mentioning maybe at the beginning of the course, or maybe depending on how the behavior of the students are, maybe each lesson I will be talking about, like please, like do not talk or write in the chat. I don't know really your expectations, but that is what it will be happening. On the second slide, what I do here is I put all the vocab for the students who need it the most. However, I tend to do this for all the students as it's a very good scaffolding. Usually what they do is that they need to study this previously as a homework, and I do a 5 minutes test at the beginning of the lesson based on the vocab, but that depends on how your institution want me to do it. This is the slide that started. Para empezar, what we do is to reinforce previous knowledge. In this case, the children's usually they need to write. I don't know if they work here with exercise books. I'm not sure how it works, but usually they write the date, the title and the objective, and we say para empezar, that is do now, and in this case we are going to practice the verbs that we did in the previous lesson. So they need to choose the right verb depending on the sentence. I do have an extension as well. It works quite well for the early finisher or the students who finish earlier. And also I have some kind of theme pressure. Here we cannot really do it, but think and write in the chat maybe is something that I could do, is that what's wrong with the word television, right? So to reinforce a little bit thinking skills. So we carry on. Sorry, these are the answers, obviously. We carry on and I introduce a little bit of grammar and infinitive. So in this case, what I want to do is make sure that they know what infinitives are. It's very important because first I introduce the infinitive and then I say what are the infinitives, and I want them to tell me in their own language, writing in the chat, for example, tell me an example of one infinitive in your language and translate it into English. The reason for this, to know what infinitive is because we do have a lot of infinitives in Spanish, and we have 3 different um, infinities depending on their endings. So that's what the idea I want them to really to keep in, to memorize. So here they need to match up exercise. So jugar, hablar, so to play, to speak, chatear, to chat, leer, to read. So this is what they need to do. Remember that we previously in the last lesson we did the meaning, so they should know all the translation of those verbs. It's just only reinforcing and introducing the idea of infinitive, but they have the meaning of the translation because we did in the previous lesson. We carry on. Always I give the answer, so we check the answers and evaluate what we did right and what we did wrong. That's some metacognition for them to know their progress. Here is what the idea really in Spanish. We have 3 endings depending on the endings of the verb, and that is a very easy exercise. But this is not about difficulty. This is about to them to memorize that there are 3 endings. Quite important in Spanish to know this. Also, here I'm introducing the justifications, right? So this is the second part of the lesson. So in the previous lesson, we did opinions, me gusta, no me gusta, odio, etc. But here what I'm introducing is the justification. So me gusta porque es muy interesante, o me gusta chatear porque es divertido, o me gusta jugar a los videojuegos porque es guay, etc. So these are new vocabulary, introducing new vocabulary. Some of them, they are cognates, which means that they are very similar to Spanish and to English. I will introduce also the word cognate and what it means. And this is an extra, so quite very a bit. So here I will tell them, please, to just try to translate those words into English. Some of them are very similar, some of them they won't know, but it's just for them to just think a little bit. And we will be doing this together, having the answers together, and also, the extra words that I will tell them that we are going to use it from now onwards all the time in different topics. In this case, I will ask them to please write 3 sentences saying what you like or dislike and why, using the new vocabulary, so that it will reinforce the use of the new vocabulary, and also the opinions, because they will need to say, me gusta chatear porque es útil, for example. And also, I want them to use extra words. I will tell them that it goes to extra points in the future if they are going to take an exam. All right. So, for example, me gusta bastante chatear porque es muy útil. No, I like quite a lot, or quite to chat quite a lot, because it's very useful. So something like this. Then reinforcing the same vocab that we just learned. I'm going to ask them to translate these sentences. Or usually I use the colors, for them to realize that is the infinitive and porque is the justification. So they need to translate this 3 in Spanish to English and 3 English sentences into Spanish. And we are going to give the answers. All right, I will be asking them if I can. I don't know yet if I can ask, if I can talk with the students. I have no clue if I can do that under your policy. If I can, I will be asking, please, I don't know, Peter, can you tell me number 1, or Anne, can you tell me number 2? And in that sense, I know that they are there and they are listening. Okay, so this is something is a math, word math, which is very important, and I think is knowledge organizer that they can have all what we are doing in one page. So me encanta, so they say the opinion, the free time and activity, the justification, and the adjective. So they can have this, and it's going to be very useful because I'm going to ask them. So I will be practicing just as an example. I will be asking, Peter, please, could you use this knowledge organizer and tell me 1 sentence? If we cannot talk, I will ask them to please write in the chat using this, maybe all together at the same time. Write in the chat 1 sentence, using all the sentences in this knowledge organizer. Following, we're going to do a reading comprehension exercise, and this is very clear, so they need to read the text here, different colors according with dyslexic. I read the dyslexic advice about how to use colors and how to use the Arial or the typo, the type of typo they want me to use, depending on you as well, on your policy. But in this exercise, they need to read, understand the test, and then they need to answer, okay, the questions, so to make sure that they understood the test and their reading skills are progressing, you know. So we carry on giving the answers. I can ask them again if they can talk. So to make it very active lesson, I can say, Peter, can you tell me number 1, and can you tell me number 2, etc., etc. So some social interaction, a little bit of interaction, which is very important when we are learning. Here vamos a hablar, we are going to talk, I don't know how you do it. For example, in my school, we were not able to talk with the students. Maybe here I can. If that is the case, I can break this into rooms per student so they can have 3 minutes conversation. We can first give an example. I can say, Peter, please, can we just talk about this? And let's do this example, and then now I'm going to break the rules, and you're going to try and to model this exercise on your own. So the lesson can be up to here, the speaking exercise, and then that it will be the plenary or the ending, like to reflect about what we have learned. So they need to say one question, write in the chat one question I still have about the lesson, or they can say 2 things they have enjoyed, or 3 keywords, okay, they have learned from this lesson. However, is the paces of the lesson, they're always are different. So always I have an extra, and this is a writing exercise. We can do it as an exercise, a writing exercise, or we can do it as a homework. It really depends on the pace. If, for example, this is as an exercise because the pace has been very quick, sorry, and then we do this as an exercise, the homework will be to learn the vocab from this lesson, and the next time I will start with 5 minutes vocab test. If the lesson we didn't have enough time, this will be the homework. And I explained with colors, that they need to introduce the self, describe yourself, and talk about the family, so reinforcing previous knowledge again. And we are adding the knowledge we have just learned in the previous 2 lessons, that is about opinions and justifications, or justify your opinions. At least 30 words, it could be more depending on your policy as well. So that's all for me, and thank you very much. Thank you.